The following is a presentation of Muddy River Sports.
Well, the truck is up and running. I'm back on my feet, but unfortunately, Schuck on a truck this week isn't on the tailgate of the truck because my guest is way too far away to sit on the tailgate with me. But I'm very honored, and it's very cool to have University of Nebraska assistant coach and Quincy University all-time leading scorer, Jessica Keller, joining me. Thanks, Jess.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
How awesome is it right now for you guys to be getting ready for selection weekend and getting ready for the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, it feels great. And to be honest, it's the first time that I've really gotten to experience this, where we feel like our body of work has put us in a position to kind of sit back and just see what the selection committee does to us.
Coming off the Big Ten tournament, obviously played Iowa to an overtime game in the title game of the championship game of the Big Ten tournament. What has the vibe been like this week as you prepare for what's ahead?
Yeah, our group is hungry. And I think that's probably the most encouraging thing, that it would be easy for us to feel like, oh, we're okay. Yeah, we played pretty well in Minnesota, and we're hungry. Our girls came in. We were coming back on Sunday night from after that overtime loss, and I got a message from Jazz Shelley saying, "Can we work out on Tuesday?" So I think just the hunger, she's bringing teammates in, and we kind of have a group that all of our players are doing what they need to do to be ready for the next tournament. I think it's really just kind of ignited another fire, and we're not complacent right now.
Have you guys prepared for? Are you going to have a get together for a selection show and all those sort of things that come with that?
We're having an event with the public in Pinnacle Bank Arena. So Sunday evening, we'll be able to get together one last time, and just really special for our players to get to kind of have that with our community that's supported us, and Husker Nation. That's just been unbelievable for us to celebrate that.
You guys have a strong showing, and I think that showed in the Big Ten tournament with the size of the Nebraska crowd. We all kind of know how Iowa travels, especially with Caitlin Clark drawing so much attention. But I thought your crowd was incredible for the championship game.
Yeah, I think obviously Iowa, just the way that they've been able to support Caitlin across the country has been so impressive, and what she's done for the game. But Husker Nation has been nothing short of that for us. And if there were more tickets, we would have had more Husker fans in the building. So I know they were loud and proud, and just being able to come to the send-off when we were leaving our hotel, and when we were being welcomed at the Target Center in Minneapolis, to see and feel Husker fans, and our cheer and our band team and band, and just being able to have everyone within our department and in our community, and all of our players' families being able to come, Jazz's grandparents being here from Australia, like just
Cool.
really special for it to culminate in the Big Ten tournament. But I know we're going to have a great crowd probably Sunday night, and then hopefully in the first round as well.
Well, I know from my days covering Mizzou how much the Nebraska fans traveled, and I had trips to Lincoln to cover basketball specifically, but a couple times to cover football. The support's incredible, isn't it?
It's incredible. And I had no idea before I moved to Nebraska, I had recruited players from Nebraska, and just to from the outside see kind of the commitment to Husker athletics in all facets. We had a player on an official visit when I was coaching at Illinois State, and she was from Nebraska, and her parents were like, "We can do whatever, but the Huskers play from this time to this time, and we need the Big Ten tournament or Big Ten Network on." And so we had to find a place to watch that. And I kind of was introduced that way. And then when I came here, just like you spoke about, being able to go to Memorial Stadium and see the sellouts every single weekend, and obviously incredibly special moment for Volleyball Day in Nebraska. I sat with 92,000 of my closest friends in Memorial Stadium and watched a volleyball. The support for women's athletics is unparalleled at the University of Nebraska.
We're talking with Jessica Keller here on Schuck on a Truck, brought to you by Schottenkirk Toyota. She's the Quincy University women's basketball program's all-time leading scorer, and she's making quite a name for herself in the coaching ranks. How much fun is it to transition from player to coach?
It's so fun. And I was so fortunate to do it at Quincy University first. And so I obviously played 4 years there, but then I transitioned immediately to a graduate assistant with JD and Brittany Carper. And just really fortunate to have people pour into me, and to be around some of my closest friends and supporters there in Quincy to start my career. And then just had a lot of people take chances on me and give me an opportunity and again, keep pouring into me.
Okay, you've lived in two and coached in two of big college towns because you were the head coach at Columbia College.
Yeah.
Okay, so the big question I have for you, which is better, Shakespeare's Pizza or Valentino's?
Oh, I have to go with Valentino's. I
Oh,
have to
come
go with Valentino's.
on.
I live here in Nebraska right now, and I know we talked about Husker Nation.
Yeah.
I gotta stay true to the Huskers, and but I will be in Columbia for the state tournament this weekend, and so
Cool.
I will definitely be hitting up Shakespeare's as well, just to make sure I got a good feel for that.
I will say this, Valentino's was always a great treat when I would travel to Lincoln and when I was covering Mizzou, because they always had it either in the press box, or when I was covering basketball, I was a Mizzou basketball beat writer. So they always made sure after games that they brought in Valentino's pizza for us when we were working in the workroom.
Yeah, we treat people nice. We're very kind, so
Yes.
trying to give you the best still.
I and it's funny, I'll go back to my Mizzou days, and people will ask, well, where'd you love to go? And I always loved going to Lincoln. Lincoln was one of my favorite stops in the Big 12.
That's so fun. And obviously, our head coach, Amy Williams,
Yep.
played here at Nebraska when they were in the Big 12. And so
Right.
it is fun to still kind of have that history of, I grew up in Missouri. I grew up a Tiger fan. Like I'm from Central Missouri. And so always kind of, I remember, the football rivalries, the
Hmm.
kick, catch, in the end zone. And actually when I came on my interview here and I was walking around campus, that was the throwback game that they were playing on the TVs. And I jokingly told Coach Williams, like, do you want me to come here? Like, we're gonna play this Missouri game. But I do feel very, very fortunate to be on this side of it and to
Yeah.
be at the University of Nebraska and in the Big Ten Conference, which I think is one of the best women's basketball conferences.
Well, you can see the Mizzou cap on my hat trick
Yeah.
behind me. So I
Heck
got to
yeah.
stay loyal to the alma mater. But I always loved going to Lincoln. I had friends that lived in Omaha, still do, and I just love the passion that Nebraska people bring to not just the football program, but all their sports.
Right. Yeah, I think, like I said, it's unparalleled for all the sports and all the women's sports. It is something to be sitting in the Devaney Center and hearing and feeling the crowd when our volleyball team is going undefeated at home, and to be in Devaney and for our men to be able to protect their home floor. And if you look at what they've done, I think they've put themselves in a great position to be in the NCAA tournament as well. And a huge credit to Husker Nation and what we've been able to do at
No
home
question.
in Pinnacle Bank Arena.
What has made this Nebraska women's basketball team special?
Yeah, it's so fun to be able to talk about how they just love and pour into each other. And I think this team specifically is so unique in the way that they just want to be successful for each other and with each other. And it's not about who's getting the credit or who's starting. And we've been able to shake some lineups up, and they haven't faltered. And Coach Williams, it starts with her at the top, and just
Yeah.
an incredible leader. And she's spoken to our team about response. That's kind of been our message this season. And so we're going to have ebbs and flows of a season. And I think our players' ability to lean into each other for that response has just set us up for a position to make a run in a Big Ten tournament and now hopefully make a run in the NCAA tournament.
As you look back on your QU career, is there anything that took place in that during that time here at Quincy that has influenced you as a coach?
I think every piece of it, obviously, I was recruited by Larry Just, and I came
Right.
to Quincy to play for Coach Just for 2 years. I played for him, and a very fundamental, incredible teacher, and very strategic. And then we had a coaching change halfway through my career, and it's one of those things that there was no transfer portal, there was no,
Yeah.
the landscape was very different, but it stopped all of us in our tracks, and we had a choice to make when they university hired JD Gravina to say, like, either get on board or we're going to have a tough, rest of our careers. And so I think that taught me how to just kind of handle some things that are out of your control,
Right.
and how do we get on board? And then what a blessing that was. He took a team that had, been very well coached and taught and
Yes.
with all the fundamentals, and kind of just let us run and go. And
Yeah.
if you look even at our scoring and our points, like, it really cut us loose and just bred confidence in us and let us play with a system and a style that fit us. And I think just he was another what you would consider a player's coach, and taught us how to just support each other and have fun with basketball. And those are some of my closest friends still. We're in group chats, we communicate regularly, we support each other. And I think the Quincy University community and all of Quincy just being able to be that support for us has just shown me how special this experience can be for student athletes.
Did playing for two different style of coaches. Larry was not as gregarious and very fundamental, and JD was more fun loving and outgoing and everything. Did that influence you in, okay, here's how I want to coach, and take pieces from both?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think like understanding that you can be successful either of those ways or
Yeah.
anywhere in between. And so really, I think taught me to think about what style fits me and where I fall on that spectrum. And I think we got both ends of it. And
Yeah.
I think I'm somewhere a combination of the, in the middle of those two, but also, just taught me the types of role models that you can have in your life, and how your relationships with your players can really shape their experiences as well.
Talking with University of Nebraska assistant women's basketball coach Jessica Keller, one of the all-time QU greats, here on Shuck on a Truck, the Zoom edition, brought to you by Schuck Toyota. As you made your way up the coaching ladder, you got a great start at Columbia College, then you go to Illinois State, where you get to work for people who are familiar with Quincy University and the GLVC in Brittany Carper and Kristen Gillespie. How cool of an experience was that to work with people who knew the GLVC, knew Quincy, knew you?
Yeah, it was incredible. And I think just one of those things that you never know will happen in your life that, obviously I played for Brittany, and then to be able to come back to a place where I could work for her wife and be part of their family again. It was just so incredibly rewarding for me to be there for 5 years, just, side by side with her again. And someone who I knew believed in me as well from the
Yeah.
jump. And so she was a big reason. I think she convinced Kristen to bring me along, which helped my career.
Yeah.
So that was I'm very, very thankful. I think I owe a ton to Brittany, not just for that job, but she got me prepared for all other jobs that I had along the way. And she's just continued to pour into me.
Kristen was such a good coach at Lewis before she went to Illinois State and has continued to have success. Do you continue to monitor Illinois State and be like, okay, look what they're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no question. My best friends are there right now too.
Yeah.
So Kristen and Scott, and obviously Mariah Bronner Henley was on our staff, and she played for Kristen at Lewis when they were
Right.
so dominant. To be second
Yep.
all time in Division II double doubles, and then to come
Crazy.
and work next to her, like it was just so much fun to say, like, okay, when you were playing or when we were in this situation, or what do you see here? And when I first came to Illinois State, I was working primarily with the post players, and then Kristen hired Mariah, and obviously she is more than qualified to coach the post. So it was just really fun for me to be able to hand that over, and then to also just kind of pour into the guard position as well. And then to pull from Scott, who came from the men's side, her cousin that was there. And
Yep.
I text those guys every day, pretty much.
Yeah.
We're really, really close. We played at the University of Illinois at the end of our season here in March, and Mariah was in the stands cheering for
Oh,
us. And so it's a really tight knit community, but I think what Kristen built there, and obviously just what we've been able to do starting from our roots in Quincy,
yep.
has kept us close.
You've had the opportunity, obviously, when you played at Quincy, you guys traveled some. Obviously, it was more Midwest.
Yeah.
The GLVC wasn't too expansive. But as you have gone up the coaching ladder, you've had travel more. Have you found a favorite place to travel to, or a favorite venue that you like to go to as a coach?
That is a great question. When I was growing up in Central Missouri, I would go to camps at Missouri State. And I think when I was coaching at Illinois State, one of my favorite places there was to go to Missouri State. And we had a chance to knock them off a couple times in Springfield. And so I think that really shapes my experience. Um, you know, in the Big Ten, travel is so different because we're able to utilize charter flights. And so it doesn't feel like the bus rides always felt when I was at Columbia or when I was at Minnesota State or Illinois State. So, this was my second season, first time going to a few other places that we didn't hit last year on the kind of on the circuit, but I mean, I do love going to Carver Hawkeye Arena
Yeah.
because of the atmosphere, because of all of the hype and it's electric in there. And so I know Husker fans fight for those tickets as well. And
Yep.
we travel. It's really nice for us to be able to go there. I obviously enjoy going to the University of Illinois because of my friends back in Central Illinois.
Right.
And but yeah, I think the Big Ten, every single place presents a different challenge. And it's been fun. It will be even more challenging now that we're bringing the West Coast schools in next year.
Yeah. That's it. That's interesting, isn't it? The Big Ten will now go from coast to coast.
It will. And I think we're positioned in such a perfect spot for that
Yeah.
because we can get East or West relatively easily now. When I first was looking at coming to Nebraska, I asked Coach Williams, do you feel a challenge to be the westernmost school? And all of a sudden we're the centralmost school in the conference next year. So obviously, like I said, the charter flights really make it possible for our student athletes we can practice the day before, we can travel that night before the game, we can get in, and we can be back home that night after the game. So they're not missing a lot of school and able to spend quite a few nights in our own bed.
I know Lincoln's not as big as some of the other places, the other college towns within the Big Ten, but I always found Lincoln to be a big small town.
Yes.
Do you get some Quincy vibes out of Lincoln?
I get Quincy vibes out of Lincoln for sure, obviously on a greater scale. And I think about my journey to go from Quincy to Mankato, Minnesota, to Columbia, Missouri, to Bloomington, Illinois, now to Lincoln, Nebraska. I feel like I've been able to kind of keep that same like small town, but growing that community. And just I love it here. It's got that same similar feel that Quincy does. And obviously everyone's Husker crazy here. And so, when I was coaching at Columbia College, I was in a college town, but everything was Mizzou when I was in town.
Right.
And so to go to a place like Lincoln, where it's like everything is Husker and I'm wearing Husker gear, I'm so proud to be part of this.
Because I mean, it is the biggest thing in Nebraska. The Huskers are.
Absolutely. And we don't compete with professional sports.
Right.
And we know that this is our arena is kind of the professional arena for so many fans that come from all over.
Well, you got a lot to look forward to and you got a lot to get ready for. So I really appreciate taking a few minutes to chat. Can't wait to see where you guys end up on Sunday.
Yeah, me either. I appreciate you reaching out and being able to connect with Quincy again.
Yeah, well, I think everybody will be paying attention to the NCAA tournament, and it's time for a Husker run, isn't it?
I think so. I think we're primed and we're hungry, and I know Coach Williams is going to have our group ready to go.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, good luck in the NCAA tournament and good luck down the road. And again, thank you so much for taking the time to catch up and to chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for all you do.
Awesome. Well, that was Jessica Keller, University of Nebraska assistant women's basketball coach, joining me on Schuck on a Truck Zoom edition, brought to you by Schottenkirk Toyota. Join me again when we get back on the tailgate of the pickup.
Muddy River Sports, our home, our sports.